Lindsey loses. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So, Lindsey loses in the Supreme Court. Today, the Supreme Court told Senator Lindsey Graham, in substance, you will be testifying in the Georgia state grand jury. You know, the one investigating Donald Trump's election crimes. Here is today's reporting from NPR. Supreme Court says Lindsey Graham must testify in grand jury Georgia election probe. And that article begins, the Supreme Court said Tuesday that Senator Lindsey Graham must testify before a grand jury in Georgia. He has been subpoenaed for questioning later this month about allegations that then-President Donald Trump tried to interfere with Georgia's ballot count after the 2020 election. Okay, friends, first of all, can we just take a minute to breathe in the justice? Okay, I think I feel a little lightheaded. I'm not used to ingesting so much justice these days. I think my tolerance is down. Okay, now, I don't want to be a justice buzzkill, but we have to talk about what happens now. Now that the Supreme Court has told Lindsey, you're done with the delays, you're done with the BS arguments, you're going into the grand jury. Lindsey Graham has a decision to make. He will go before the grand jury. He will put his butt in the witness chair. He will be administered an oath. He will swear to tell the truth. And DA Willis's, Fani Willis's prosecutors will begin to question him. At that point, Lindsey Graham can either, 1, testify truthfully about Donald Trump's election crimes, or 2, testify untruthfully about Donald Trump's election crimes, in which I think he will be facing a perjury charge because, as best I can tell, Fani Willis don't play. Or 3, he can plead the fifth. Lindsey Graham, a senator who sits on the Judiciary Committee, can invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination just like anybody else. I'm not mocking that right. I embrace everyone's right not to be compelled to provide incriminating information against themselves. And Lindsey Graham absolutely has a viable Fifth Amendment privilege to invoke. Why do I say that? Well, we have to think back a few months to the reporting when Georgia's Secretary of State, a Republican Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, said Lindsey Graham kept calling me. And based on what he was saying to me, it sounded like he was, quote, urging me to toss out lawfully cast ballots, close quote. What is that? That's incriminating. So Lindsey Graham can properly plead the fifth, invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, because there's definitely some incriminating information there. And maybe he'll choose to do that. I happen to think he's going to go in there and be the slippery little weasel that he is and try to answer most of the questions, probably not recalling a whole lot, maybe invoking a little smattering of privilege here and there. But let's talk about what happens, first of all, if Lindsey Graham pleads the fifth. Not answering questions, because truthful answers might tend to incriminate me. Well, then the ball is back in DA Fani Willis's court. She'll have a decision to make. You can overcome somebody's Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. You can extinguish it. You can kill it. How? By granting them immunity. Because a grant of immunity is a prosecutor saying your statements can't be used against you, won't be used against you, because I am immunizing you. I can never use anything you say in the grand jury against you. So the calculation there is How desperately does DA Willis want Lindsey Graham's testimony? Or how much does she want to prosecute him for what may be his own Georgia state election crimes, like urging Brad Raffensperger to toss out lawfully cast ballots to help his man, Donald Trump? That's a decision Fani Willis will have to make, and I have confidence in her that she will make the right decision. Okay, friends, let's finish with this, because there's one other game Lindsey Graham could try to play, but, when would Lindsey Graham ever try to play games with the truth? When Lindsey was trying to avoid testifying, he claimed that everything he said, everything he did down in Georgia or talking with Brad Raffensperger is all protected by the speech and debate clause, because it was all part of his legislative fact-finding to figure out whether he should vote to certify the election, how to better guard against election fraud. Now, that's absurd, that's laughable, and the courts have said as much in denying his claims and ordering him to testify. But the courts have said, okay, I'll tell you what, you're going to go in and testify, and we will carve out some very limited protections, just in case some question you're asked by the prosecutor conjures up speech and debate clause issues, such that you would have a right to invoke the speech and debate clause privilege. And if you do that, well, then you can go into court and you can litigate whether you've properly invoked the speech and debate clause privilege or not. Yes, that requires more time, more delay, more appeals, more weaponizing the criminal justice system to try to run out the clock. But the courts have said, we're going to carve out some limited protection just in case there's a question or two that comes up that could involve speech and debate clause protected activity. So, might Lindsey Graham go into the grand jury, raise his right hand, swear to tell the truth, and when the prosecutors start asking him questions, might he say in his answer to every question, well, Madam Prosecutor, I think that conjures up speech and debate clause protection, so I'm going to decline to answer it. Yes, as a gutter kid from Jersey, I don't do a great Southern accent. Let's hope Lindsey Graham doesn't play that game. I mean, for gosh sakes, Lindsey, just tell the truth about Donald Trump's crimes and about whatever you said and did in those calls with Brad Raffensperger. Just tell the flippin' truth, Senator, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Because justice matters. Matters to us. It should matter to you, Senator, member of the Judiciary Committee, keeper of Donald Trump's secrets, including his criminal secrets. We'll stay tuned. We'll see what Lindsey does when he appears before the grand jury in Georgia. Secret proceeding by law, so we may not know about it right away unless it erupts into more litigation, and then we may see what that litigation involves, or unless it leaks out somehow. I'm not urging that there should be leaks of grand jury protected information. There shouldn't, but at times it leaks out. But we will keep an eye on old Senator Lindsey Graham to see if he mans up, tells the truth, testifies fully, accurately about the crimes of Donald Trump and about his own conduct, so we can begin to pull our democracy out of the fire, begin to rebuild and repair our republic. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.